I like to choose meals that are easy to prepare and cook. So one pot recipes, one they save on fuel and they minimize cleaning. I'm not out there to cook personally and clean, although sometimes it is relaxing to just sit, have a fire, have your little stove that you're maybe cooking on, maybe you're cooking on the fire, to have those things and just enjoy a camping meal. See that lone pine up on that hill over there? What are we actually doing right now? The kids are just wild out there. They're wild. But they're having a good time, you know? They're having a good time. This is Untamed, Unbroken, The Adventurer's Guide, and I'm your host, Blake Bredesen. Welcome back to another episode of Untamed, Unbroken. Today we are in part 4 of our wilderness series, which is food and water essentials. So let's get into it. Let's start with the food aspect, nutritional planning for wilderness camping. All right, so you're going to want to think this out ahead of time. It's essential if you want to maintain 1, your health, 2, your energy, and morale. So the first thing we really need to understand is caloric intake and nutritional needs in the wilderness. So outdoor activities in general, especially in challenging terrain and colder climates, significantly increase your caloric requirements. Backpacking alone can burn up to 500 calories an hour. You know, if you're canoeing across a lake and it's hot and you're sweating a lot, you're going to be burning calories. So sometimes it's not uncommon to need 3, 4, 5, even up to 7,000 calories a day, depending on your fitness level, depending on your size, gender, and then the activity level that you're doing, whatever that it might be. If you're on a canoe trip, it's not always the most, every single day anyway, isn't always the most physical demanding. Now, if you're going on a big loop and you're paddling and portaging every single day and you're knocking out 10 miles every day or something like that, then yeah, that's going to be pretty demanding. But if you're just one day in, camping for 4 or 5 days or a week, and then another day out, those days where you're just at base camp and paddling, fishing, hiking, whatever, those aren't going to be as demanding in general. So know that stuff. It's going to depend on your type of trip. But just know if you eat 1,800 calories during a normal day at home, wouldn't be uncommon or unheard of if you needed at least double that out on a wilderness trip. Let's talk a little bit about macronutrients. So carbohydrates, proteins, fats. I'm going to give you the basics of these. Carbs, they're going to be your primary energy source. That's like your quick hitting energy. Okay. Proteins, muscle repair and recovery. Fats are your sustained energy. That's like the long burning wick. You know, carbs are the short fuse. Proteins fix it all. I like to pack a lot of fats personally. I like things like nuts, cashews, but then I like some protein bars, some other bars like Lara bars. They're higher in carbs, but they're calorie dense. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Meal breakdown. Let's just give you an example of some of the food that I'll end up packing. Breakfast. Just an example of what a day might look like for food. Breakfast, you have oatmeal, a bar, something like that. Lunch, some sort of sandwich like pita bread or a tortilla with like salami and some cheese, like Baby Bell cheese works really well. Dinner, maybe it's some pasta sides, some rice, maybe some sort of protein that's easy to pack in. Maybe it's fish that you caught. Maybe you're just planning that you're having fish and all the other stuff is just sides. Or dinner might be a freeze-dried meal. Those are super easy, nice to clean up. I don't like to do a ton of cooking where there's a lot of cleanup involved. I like simple things, and most of all, I like trail mix in bars, whether it's a protein bar or a Lara bar or X bars. I mix it up. I bring a lot of different bars, so I'm not eating the same flavor every single day for a week straight. PB&Js work great too. You can pre-make them, have them ready to go. Those are always good. Do like me a good PB&J out there. It's already made for you. There's a lot of things at the grocery stores that you can get where it's just add water or maybe just like a tablespoon of butter and water or something like that. So I like to go for those if I'm not using any freeze-dried meals or dehydrated stuff that you just add hot water to. Pancakes is another easy one to do out there. So cooking and prep, I mean, like I said, I like to choose meals that are easy to prepare and cook. So one pot recipes, one, they save on fuel and they minimize cleaning. I'm not out there to cook personally and clean, although sometimes it is relaxing to just sit, have a fire, have your little stove that you're maybe cooking on, maybe you're cooking on the fire, to have those things and just enjoy a camping meal. A lot of times, if you're out in the backcountry, maybe you're on a hunt trip, you don't want to spend a lot of time cooking. Not really. It's usually you're pretty exhausted at the end of the day, and that's the last thing you want to do is spend a bunch of time cooking a meal. So energy bars, trail mix, dried fruits, nuts. This is what I like most. Fruit bars, granola bars, energy bars, protein bars, trail mix, Snickers. Those are always good too. So as long as they're lightweight, nutrient dense, calorie dense, that's what I'm looking for as far as snacks, snack wise. Supplements, electrolytes, I'll even bring protein powder. Just mix that with some water. Electrolytes, if you're going to be, doing a lot of sweating, a lot of moving and grooving, electrolyte powders like Element, that's LMNT. Hydrant is another one. Noon or None, NUUN. There's these little tablets. You just drop them in 16 ounces of water. Those ones have a little carbonation with them, so I don't know if you don't like carbonation, don't get those. Liquid IV is another one. They have actually reformulated their thing, so they don't have, some of them don't have 11 grams of added sugar, but they just use like stevia leaf extract or stevia as their sweetener or whatever their sweetener is instead of sugar. So replenishing those, packing maybe a multivitamin of some sort might be a good idea on wilderness trips. I like to pack some extra vitamin C. Water management and hydration. Let's move on to the water and water purification. Pump filters, gravity filters, UV filters, and then the chemical treatments are like the little pills and stuff. So there's different ways to do it. I personally like to have a couple methods, main method and a backup method. I like to use the Catadine B-free 1 liter water filter. It is like call it like a little soft flask. Hydro Pack is what they call it. It's basically just a little bag, for lack of a better term. But that's super nice because it's collapsible. So it's not like a hard water bottle, and it's perfect for backcountry. You fill that up, and it's got a good flow through it too. And I put a little pre-filter. Now, pre-filters, you can buy a specific pre-filter for this that you wrap around that filter or that slides right on there. I do have those. They work really good. You can also just use a coffee filter and use that as your pre-filter. So that's a really good way to do a pre-filter as well. So yeah, Catadine Be Free 1 liter water filter. That's what I like to use. As a backup, I like to use just like the little water purification pills. They take like 20 or 30 minutes. But that's what I use as my backup. A lot of people like Sterapens. They're great. They're quick. You rely on a battery though for those. So keep that in mind. Other brands, like I said, I have the Catadine one. I also have a Life Straw water bottle. But they also make a soft flask type thing. A Life Straw does now too. Just a soft version, which is, I like those. They're really nice. They break down. You empty them out. They're light. They don't take up a lot of space. Gravity filters, they're good for maybe larger groups or campsites. They take a little bit longer. And then there's pump filters, kind of like a Sawyer squeeze type of thing, and different other pump filters. But let's be honest, the easiest one just for you would be something like the Catadine Be Free water filter or Life Straw's version of the same thing. And I'll link those up below. You can check them out. And then there's the old fail-safe, boil. Just boil your water. Boiling water for at least 1 minute, maybe at higher altitudes, it's going to be longer. Something to keep in mind there is having a couple methods for water purification. Some people don't purify at all. And that's your choice, man. Hydration strategies. Just paying attention. If your urine, just pay attention to the color of your urine. And making sure you're getting, I like to drink half my body weight in ounces. So I'm shooting for about 90 to 100 ounces of water a day. That's what I go for personally. It's going to increase if you are sweating a whole ton. And then that's where I throw in those electrolyte packets. Carrying water, water's 8 pounds a gallon. So carrying in water sucks because it gets heavy quick. Collapsible containers are nice. We have a 5-gallon little collapsible container. And that's great for just leaving at camp. I don't always bring it, but it's always nice to have, you fill that out in the middle of the lake or something, or you fill that up in a stream if you're going to be at a base camp or whatever it is. Those are nice to have just in camp. And then the last thing to really note when it comes to water is knowing the water sources beforehand and doing that map study, identifying lakes and streams, creeks, rivers along your route or near your route or near camp, and then just having backup plans in case a water source is not available. Now, what those backup plans would be is up to you. Maybe it's like, all right, we got to hike a little bit further to find water. Here's option A. If there's no water here, here's option B. And option C better be a guarantee. Otherwise, you might be just hiking back out because you don't have any water. Maybe you are packing in water and you're only going to be out for a few days. That's packing in a lot of water. You think about it, 8 pounds a gallon. Just remember that. If you're drinking a gallon a day, 128 ounces, which wouldn't be unheard of, you're going to pack in 24 to 32 pounds of water. Doubtful. Even just those 3 little reservoirs they get heavy. So think about water. Think about places. Have multiple places in mind near your camp or along your route that you can get water. And that does it for water and food I will leave a list, kind of a food list, just kind of linked below, just an example. But yeah, important topics to think about. We will see you on the next one in part 5, which is camp setup and management. Stay wild. Thank you for sticking around. If you've enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a rating and review. Even one word, it helps a ton. Sincerely appreciate you guys. Thank you all, and we'll see you on the next one. Stay wild.
You've been listening to Untamed, Unbroken, a Lone Pine Adventures original podcast.